Hey, Ravings and Cravings here, otherwise known as Ruth Hartunian Ellenbaugh, with a maybe now not so new show brought to you by the Wyndham Economic and Community Development folks. And we are live. I kind of hope everyone heard that, Andy.
I think that crash was going to pick up.
I think actually that was timed well. Isn't that a great intro to Stone Row?
Real kitchen sounds.
I know, real life. So today I'm here with Andy Goot from Stone Row Kitchen and Bar, and he's going to talk to us about what's happening here and about Restaurant Week happening February 20th to March 5th, and lots of things about food. And I kind of hope that there's going to be a little more, background noise. I think that was...
It's always a possibility.
I love that. So give us a little update on what's happening here at Stone Row and talk a little bit about the Restaurant Week.
Well, we just came off of a really good holiday season and compared to the last couple of years, and it was a good close to 2022. We have to get the years right now.
I know, right.
During that changeover.
Right.
It reminds me, we're a little bit certainly closer to this industry feeling a bit more reminiscent in terms of volume to what it was like in 2019.
Wow.
That gap was almost closed for us, and in talking to some of my peers, we're recording this in January,
right.
But just the other night we had a small part with about 24 other restaurants doing a food portion of the governor's inauguration at the Bushnell in Hartford.
Yeah.
So it was a really good event for me to be able to reconnect with all my peers because they invited about 24 restaurants from across the state.
Okay, so I want to know, how did you get invited to that party? Because you're here in Willimantic, they're in Hartford. How does this happen?
We were fortunate. We did the last one in 2018.
Okay.
So we did Lamont's first inaugural ball.
Well, how did they find you though?
I'm suspecting it's hard work. It's us, garnering some positive attention, some positive reviews. This past event, I got a call from the Connecticut Restaurant Association. So we're an active member there. When they need something. The Connecticut Restaurant Association is across the whole state, and I've been very vocal that this area, the Northeast area, Wyndham County, has a seat at the table. So I suppose when they need a restaurant to appear, that they're going to say, well, we should probably call Andy.
Yeah, and you know what? I was invited last year to sit on the nominating panel committee.
Yeah.
Because they don't have representation of Northeast Connecticut, this area where we live in, which is absolutely sad. But I was happy to be there, and kind of felt like, I don't know, it was out of my element, but it was a good experience. Absolutely.
And so going to the governor's inauguration, you really feel like they're choosing restaurants that not only represent some of the best around the state, and they did represent every corner of Connecticut, but also a really diverse array, which I certainly appreciated.
Right.
And it certainly shows a testament to Lamont's vision and support of the hospitality industry. They didn't have to do that. They're going to throw some sort of inaugural event no matter what.
Right.
They could have hired one caterer, done a few stations and some cheese and crackers, and they did we're in a live place. We got cell phones buzzing. To do a event that involves 36 chefs, liquor vendors, distillers, cheese makers.
I mean, that's more than just a ball.
That is a logistical nightmare, and they pull it off. So they didn't do this in Hartford. This event was at the Bushnell. They didn't do it because it was easy. They did it because it was the right thing to do. If you're going to represent Connecticut, you might as well book a representative slice of the Connecticut hospitality community, because we are the industry of opportunity for a lot of folks. This could be their very first job.
Right.
This could be their very first job in the United States. This could be their first job in high school or college. And for a sliver or a slice of those folks, it becomes a true pathway of a career to forging a good life for themselves.
Yeah, that's true. When I was writing for the Chronicle years ago now, I remember many people saying, I came here from another country. I started as a dishwasher, started cleaning the floors, and now 20 years later, whatever, I'm a restaurant owner.
Yep. And actually, you bring up a great point of you writing for the Chronicle, you're writing for food, right?
Right.
All of the other industries that hospitality feeds, right? If there's no restaurants to write about, there's no there's no opportunity for Ruth to. So we feed the huge part of the supply and entertainment and the chain of things in life that make life kind of feel nice sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's what I really say, and that's why I think in speaking to Willimantic specifically, the presence of food, the presence of restaurants softens the edges. It makes your neighborhood, it makes your community a place to be and a great place to eat out.
Well, and there are so many facets to what it means to dine out. It means many things to different people. Like I got to eat here the end of last year with my husband, and I haven't been here had come for a very long time. But seriously, the soup, the bisque, oh my gosh, you know what? Everybody should like come in here and get that for sure. And the presentation, though, it's like a
Tableside
performance.
pour.
I know, I didn't know that happened. So can you just talk about that?
I will, because
excited.
that's actually, so what Ruth is referring to is a butternut bisque with I don't know, when you had it, I know it had the spiced pepitas. Did it have the sage whipped ricotta on it yet?
I don't think so.
Okay, so we were doing the sliced apples.
No.
So it's a composed soup with a tableside pour.
Composed meaning?
Meaning we want you to see the different ingredients going into it.
Got it.
So it's delivered tableside as an empty bowl with the garnishes in it. The server comes up to you with sort of a gravy pour, a creamer, and they pour the hot soup into the bowl. Then they have a little dish with a little bit of pumpkin seed oil. So that's like a really rich caramel brown color, and that really composes well with the orange of the butternut. So we put that on. So you see this unfolding, this drama happen in front of you. And why we do that.
So she put cream, though, on the bottom of my bowl.
So that was the sage whipped ricotta.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, so I did have that.
Yep.
I just didn't know it. Okay.
We've changed the set a couple different times. Because that's a thing to note is that when a dish goes on the menu, the dish you get that week 1 may not be the same. It may be a slightly different variation you get by week 4.
Right, so you can never be bored with food
No,
here.
because we learn through feedback. We learn through executing something in the kitchen about, okay, we can make it come out a little bit quicker this way, or the taste profile is a little different this way. So it's a performance where, let's say, a band or a musician or an actor is doing a performance run in a venue or a tour.
Yep.
The performance you see week 1 is not going to be the same performance you see on week 12.
Absolutely not. Yeah, I understand that as
So that's
musician.
Totally true in a restaurant setting. So back to the tableside presentation. I call it it's the inherent uselessness of what we do, but it's the uselessness of the pomp and circumstance of doing things like pouring soup tableside, opening up bottles of wine tableside, bringing different silverware for every course, right? Things that you're not going to see at a lot of restaurants.
Yeah. Yep.
Would the silverware work fine between courses? Probably. Would it be okay if I brought you the soup already in the bowl? Probably.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's 99% the same soup. But I like that extra 1% that just puts you over the top. Of the tableside soup, we're pouring it in front of you. One thing it really does is it's an element of excitement. It's an element of you matter to us, and we're taking this extra step to do this extra time. Time is the most valuable currency on planet Earth that humans have.
I so agree with
you. So we're doing that, and we're saying to you, right now, the most important thing in our universe, in the Stone Row universe, is you being here in this seat. Nothing else matters. And that's what we really kind of feel is the guest is the center of our universe, and we'll revolve around that. And it helps the guest and the customer. Food is a very present thing. Food puts you in the moment.
True. Yeah.
And that really, we want that to speak through our menu. We try to do that you can do that with things as simple as a hamburger.
Well, you can. At the end of the day,
bite
you can do
into
that.
a good burger,
Sure.
and you're present, and you're feeling good, and you're feeling right about. I feel good about life right now. For this 90 minutes,
Yeah.
everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, it was a lovely dining experience. We tried a few other things too, but all in all, it was really spectacular. It was a good way to bring in the new year. We didn't come on New Year's Eve, but we were here a couple days before. It was excellent. Yeah, we could talk about your menu forever. I just think if you live in Willimantic or even not, this should be a destination to come visit. So that's my little plug for Stone Row Kitchen and Bar. You should probably say what the address is and stuff like that. We want to make sure that people can find you.
Sure, we're on Main Street, 948 Main Street, which is right downtown. We're easy to find. We're near the town hall. There's a couple other restaurants across the street from us, Red City Diner, Willimantic Brewing Company. So we are in a great area for dining, wandering around, and certainly worth the destination. Our customer base tends to be from the TMZ, the 30-mile zone. So it's largely east of the Connecticut River, down to the shoreline, up to sort of Tolland County.
That's a big swath.
And into the Rhode Island border, and our type of operation at the same time, because we like to experiment, we like to really engage in the extra steps of service, is it takes a big customer base to keep all those parts of this machine well oiled.
Well, that's movable. That's a Movable Feast,
Movable
right?
Feast was my catering company for many years.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's no longer?
My catering operation went the way of COVID.
Okay.
But I can talk about that. I mean, we need to talk about things that the pandemic and the economic situation killed.
Yeah.
Well, so catering for me required a very robust infrastructure, and to keep staff constantly on call, and to keep that whole state of momentum moving for catering isn't possible when you're not when you have 12 to 14 months where you weren't able to do, you had cancellations. And moreover, in this area, Yukon was a significant part of my business. Doing events on campus, doing events for athletics, doing events for the Yukon Foundation, doing events for the performing arts, and there was no events on campus for almost 2 years.
They shut down.
So I had to dismantle that entire company, and that made up about a third of my revenue for my overall operation. So
that's significant.
So that I suffer significantly because of that. The good news is, well, we also have to mention I had another venue in Mansfield on Storrs Road that did not make it through COVID either. That was going to be our pop-up space and our cooking school, and just the conditions did not lend for that to continue to go forward. So I did lose significantly the past 3 years, but experience is what you get when you don't get what you want.
That's a good philosophy.
Yep. So I've gained a tremendous amount of, resilience is kind of part of me. I mean, I have, you don't get into this industry as an owner, operator, if you don't have some degree of perseverance, resilience. I mean, some days, many days, you're rolling the boulder uphill. Right? But you get very, very strong biceps when you're rolling that boulder up the hill.
Well, and I mean, your longevity is a testament to your perseverance. So, you're celebrating how many years here?
So, this 13 years. I was 24, 25 when I opened the coffee shop, Cafe Mantic, which started as just a small coffee shop, and then that in itself has its own story, its own legacy.
That was
4 or 5 years in, becoming its own restaurant and garnering a lot of attention and accolades from that. So it's funny because I was thinking last night. some of the other businesses that were here when I first opened in 2010, and that those businesses in the neighborhood had already been around for several generations, and so there was already this sort of neighborhood transition that was going on. I think there were businesses that had been open since the 50s and 60s. There was a travel agency, there was an insurance agency next to me, and they're all gone now. They've been replaced by other businesses, and that's what's been, now that I've been here a decade plus, you really see the transition of change, that the wave of change that has happened with small businesses opening, and the wave of change, I think, moreover, in the area, specifically, I think how Mansfield around stores and how Willimantic has grown from a food perspective in the last 10 years.
Oh my gosh,
and that's becoming
huge.
And our two towns, our two neighborhoods is becoming increasingly important in terms of being recognizable centers of activity and moreover food.
Yeah, well, in some ways a destination. It's not just, you don't just come in, eat a burger and leave, or I'm going through town and I'll grab something. This is a dine, stay, linger a little bit if you can, right?
It seems to be that if you look at other places, the first other neighborhoods that people want to be worldwide starts with food.
Yeah, it's true. Talk about Restaurant Week. It's coming next week, so even though we're recording this ahead of time, give us dates and details about that, because people are going to want to put that on their calendars.
Sure. So what I was just saying about communities working together and sharing resources, Restaurant Week in Mansfield and Wyndham stemmed from that. This is our second year.
Oh, only the second year?
This is it.
Wow, you're a toddler, huh?
Right. So, well, year one, 2022, is getting it established, seeing if it would work and work enough where we'd want to repeat it. So Taste Two Towns 2023 returns February 20th through March 5th.
Okay.
The best way to find out what's going on and what restaurants are on board is to visit taste2towns.com, and that's with the number 2, so taste2towns.com.
Okay.
And we have about 20 restaurants on board throughout Wyndham and Mansfield.
Do you know some of the names of the restaurants? Could you name them, or is that like a secret and you can't?
So at the time of recording this, we haven't finished all the registrations yet.
Okay, just go to the web. If people don't have web access, though, how can they find out information? Because, there's a generation out there.
Yep, I would have to
and they're
defer
the ones who
that
have,
question to you, Ruth.
But
I think they should call or write Ruth.
They're the generation who have disposable income and who are retired. They're not using the computer. Anyway, everyone should eat. You can call me 860-208-8783. I will go to the web for you. And if you want to dine out and you don't do the web, I will.
Hey, you know what? You can also visit your local library. There we go. See?
All right. Problem solved. All right.
All right. So Taste Two Towns involves about 20 restaurants, and it's a whole smattering. So we go from places that do primarily takeout and counter service, all the way down to full service restaurants like Stone Row, where we'll do a 3 to 4 course prefix menu. For example, I'll pick up Gansett Wraps and Stores, right? They will do a sort of a sampling, a platter, a package deal of the best of their best, and put that all together, and it feeds to Fresh Fork in Stores. Did a really nice menu in 2022. Here in Willimantic, Grounded did a coffee cupping. Willie Brew did a 3-course menu. The Harp did a 3-course prefix menu.
Lots of choices.
Fenton River did a prefix menu. So it all the way. I think Hops 44 was on board. So it involves a significant number of restaurants, and it's the hospitality community coming together. Putting our best foot forward, all doing a cohesive effort, shows the burgeoning strength of our community from a hospitality sense. I don't think 10 years ago this would have been possible.
I don't think so either,
No,
honestly.
no.
I mean, knowing the demographic here and stuff, I don't think so.
And just the lack of cohesiveness. And where this really was born from is a phone call between myself and Cynthia at the Mansfield Downtown Partnership,
Oh, yeah.
trying to find a way to make more of a connection between stores downtown and Willimantic downtown, and food came as a result of that.
Well, and okay, I don't know if I'm going to be stepping on someone's toes, maybe not, but I have seen people be kind of territorial when it comes to restaurants, so people don't want to share. But I think the future of many industries of restaurant is the collaboration.
Well,
I think anyway.
I would hope that restaurateurs are not territorial about sharing, because they like what makes restaurant folks happy is seeing guests in their chairs. We don't like empty seats.
Right.
It's perhaps people who a broader perspective would be if restaurants succeed together, it's called critical mass. There's a reason why the best, like I said earlier, the best neighborhoods have door-to-door places to eat. They're not all spread out,
Right.
5 miles from one another. And so we're just capitalizing on really the best asset that our neighborhood has to bring a regular flow of life here. There's nothing else is going to do that other than food destinations.
I think you guys here do a awesome job of customer service and helping people make the reservations and stuff like that. Like, I made my reservation online, got a confirmation, I got a reminder saying, are you still coming? I appreciate that. I think it's a great service.
And we appreciate it too, because I'll go to the nuts and bolts, right?
Sure.
No shows is a
Yeah.
tremendous economic loss to a restaurant.
Yeah, that'd be
If we have a table of 2 that doesn't show up, we're down $150 to $300. Right?
Yikes.
Because not only could we reseat that table, but if we're holding, let's say you make a reservation at 6, we open at 5, we're not seating that table at 5 o'clock.
Right.
So if you don't show up, not you,
The
Ruth would
impact.
never do that.
I would
But
never
if
do
someone
that.
didn't show up, the economic impact, so cancellation fees are very real some days. We don't do them yet. We haven't found the need. We do on big days like Christmas Eve or New Year's, we do have a cancellation fee, but there is an economic impact
Yeah.
when guests don't show up, or guests make a reservation and they, cancel for not a good reason. You're affecting someone's livelihood.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think the restaurant industry was a little bit too quiet and maybe a little bit too, well, we don't want to say anything
Passive.
for
Yeah.
always just say yes and give the customer what they want. Well, that's not true. And I think what I do, I tell my staff now, is I used to say to my staff, because I learned this from one of my hospitality idols, Danny Meyer, it was called The Power of Yes. And I agree with that, I do. And if you think of a Connecticut institution I was barely even born when this was around, but G. Fox was a big department store in Hartford. They had the customer is always right concept, right? Well, the customer has changed in 50 years.
That's true.
So, but on that same vein, I'm in this business because I love people. I hire people that love people. So sometimes I do no, however.
Yes.
And that's gotten me through the last 3 years of no, but however, this is what I can do. And so I think what it has done is it's created more of a mutual handshake between the business and the customer. And to some regards, it's actually formed a deeper relationship and a deeper understanding of the customer mindset and the restaurant's mindset.
I tell you, relationships, that's the key.
We're in the business of relationships.
It is. Well, I wish I had more time to talk with you. I can't believe that time is almost up here. So Andy Goot from Stone Row Kitchen and Bar, thank you so much for being with me here on Ravings and Cravings on WILI.